This parable that Jesus tells in Matthew 25, in some respects for me, is kind of a sleeper parable. It's everybody knows it, at least people who come to Christian worship over the years, who went to Sunday school. We know it. Some translation talk about talents, some talk about pounds, some talk about other definitions of talents. I see this parable as I've studied it this week, a much more powerful one than I think we give it credit. In our gospel text this morning, which is really important to remember, is that Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like a spiritual guide or friend going off on an extended trip. It's like the kingdom of heaven here on earth, for which we are saved to create. I want to tell you the story in my own way, in a more contemporary version of it. The guide or master had three spiritual friends, and maybe even more, called them together and delegated responsibility. To one, she gave 5 talents: faith, love, gratitude, trust, and generosity. To another, 2 gifts: faith and love. And to a third, just 1 gift, the gift of faith. Then she left. Right off, the first spiritual friend went out and used her 5 gifts to make 5 new friends to whom she was a spiritual guide. The second did the same with their faith and love. They shared their faith and love in an abundant way. But the one with the single gift, the gift of faith, which seems like a really fundamentally wonderful gift, was afraid and stayed at home and isolated himself from getting connected with anyone new, hoping somehow to protect his one gift of faith. He didn't want to lose it. And I think he might have had the idea that the more you use it, the more you lose it. I'm not sure. And after a long absence, the spiritual master of these 3 friends came back to see how things were going. The one gift given the 5 spiritual gifts, faith and love, gratitude, trust, and generosity, showed how she had grown these 5 gifts. Her master commended her. Good work. You did a great job. From now on, be my partner. The friend with the 2 gifts, faith and love, showed how they also had grown their master's investment. Their spiritual master commended them. Good work. You did a good job. From now on, be my partner. The one friend, given the single gift of faith, said, Master, I know you have high standards and hate self-centered ways, that you always desire the best in relationships, and I was afraid I would disappoint you. That's a common theme in families, my friends, all over the world. Not a child not wanting to disappoint a parent or a grandparent. So this was maybe a real challenge, obviously, for this one who received the one gift of faith. The spiritual guide was disappointed and sad. That's a terrible way to live cautiously like that. It's unfaithful to God's desire for relationship from such scarcity. If you knew I was after the best of you, then why did you do less than the least of you? The least you could have done would have been to spend some time with folks at your church or community, or at least let others know you a little. I pray you will let go of this play it safe, take no risk approach to relationships. My friend, God calls us into a world of abundant relationships. In our families, where it all begins, in our schoolrooms, where we grow our first friendships, in our work, in our church, on the playground, even those folks who are playing pickleball right now on East Street Park. And in our community, where we grow our relationships. The first two friends in this rather loose retelling of the Matthew story of the 10 talents live life responding to God's gift of relationships by living out of abundance. The third one lived out of scarcity. To live out of abundance means we take risk and we are generous with our faith, with our love, out of our gratitude, with our trust and generosity, and more. We all know people who are like these three friends in the earlier story. Some folks are just outgoing and openly generous and are quite willing to fill up a wagon and would ask for a big truck because they have so much to share. Some are not quite so extroverted, but show an openness and energy that says, be my friend. They may take a little longer to get to be your best friend, but the opportunity is there. And we know that still in these days of viruses and wars, we can be very, very cautious. And in many cases, we ought to. And if you add the fear of a love relationship or fear of risking a broken heart, then you might do as the third friend did in the opening story. Maybe worse than that is the rancor, the infighting, the hate, the bitterness, the malice, etc., present in many of our institutions established to work for the common good. Have we lost our sense of the common good, of shared community? The late, great Tip O'Neill, a congressperson from Massachusetts, a really big man with a big heart, used to say all the time that all politics are local. I think all good and decent programs working for the common good are local. But we get caught up in the regional and national, international feuds, conflicts and wars, and the common good gets squashed. Now even the local school boards, for instance, around the country, are giving into the rancor and the infighting, wasting the gifts of faith and love and gratitude, trust, and generosity. This past Thursday evening, I was privileged to represent Grace Church at the annual report dinner of the Community Foundation of Frederick County, where they gave out the Wertheimer Fellows for Excellence in Volunteerism. I was asked to offer the invocation. That's always what we're asked. Gerry, say a little prayer for this event. There was a great spirit there of collaboration. It felt good to be in the midst of that gathering of several hundred Frederictonians sharing their gifts. In the paper for the weekend, in the religion section of the Frederick News Post, maybe you can see this. The title is Bridging the Divide, and it's an article about an interfaith Thanksgiving service this Tuesday evening at Asbury United Methodist Church at 7:30. And the writer of this article says, rooted in the belief that diverse faiths can coexist harmoniously, Frederick's multi-faith community Thanksgiving service stands as a poignant testament to the power of unity, understanding, and love. This special service will be held at 7:30 Tuesday at Asbury and is open to people of any faith as well as nuns. The event's ethos aligns with the broader mission of interfaith dialogue described by the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy as the positive and cooperative interaction between people of different religions, faiths, or spiritual beliefs, with the aim of promoting understanding between the different religions to increase acceptance and tolerance. In today's polarized world, which fixates on division, this event has the potential to add as a counterforce. Religions don't exist in isolation. We should tell the third friend this. They coexist in communities, something we often forget in our isolated faith groups. Two examples for me where all good and decent programs working for the common good are indeed local, as they are for us. Did you notice that in Matthew's gospel, the master punishes the one who buried his one talent? He is punished and turned away. Well, I've got to take issue with that part of the parable. That's a very unsettling part for me. In my take on this parable, even the one who is afraid to risk is still loved by God. And God still desires relationship with him. So all are welcome into the kingdom of heaven on earth. I turn, as I finish, to Paul's writing to the Thessalonians in chapter 5 when he said, God didn't set us up for an angry rejection, but for salvation by our Master Jesus Christ. He died as a supreme act of love and ultimate sacrifice that triggered life. Whether we're awake with the living or asleep with the dead, we are alive with him. So speak encouraging words to one another. Build up hope so that all will be together in this. No one left out, no one left behind. I know you believe this, and I see you doing it. And for that, we give God the praise. Amen.